let's get into the meat and potatoes here. Black Adam. Let's give it a review. I'm gonna withhold my statements until we let some others take the floor. So we're gonna start off with George here. Let's
we're
dive
we're
into
doing
Black
spoilers
Adam.
and non-spoilers, right?
Correct.
I feel like
but
this one.
I'll just
with
quick-
none.
Right. I'll quickly set the stage with just like a one sentence or two, which Black Adam is such a cultural, like, in terms of everyone in the media knows about it, so I'm not going to harp on it too long. But obviously, newest entrance into the DCEU was in the works for basically over a decade. The Rock says he put all his chips into the table for this one. It's kind of been his passion project. The hype around this movie kind of ran wild with people saying this is going to change the future of the DCEU. Obviously, 99% of us know that all the post-credit scenes were leaked, and they kind of even use that in their marketing. So been a wild run up to this movie releasing, and it's finally released for the masses. George, take it away. What are your thoughts on Black Adam?
The Rock has not saved the DCEU, unfortunately.
Did he change the hierarchy of power, though?
He did not change the hierarchy of power. This was an incredibly disappointing movie, and I think it would have gotten a lower score for me if I didn't expect it to be disappointing. Once The Rock started spoiling the fact that Henry Cavill was in the movie, I kind of just figured they understood they made a bad movie and they didn't want a box office failure. So how do you avoid that? You spoil the fact that Superman is coming back because everyone's going to lose their goddamn minds. It was just an incredibly surface level movie, incredibly lazy dialogue. I thought The Rock just played the exact same character he plays in every single movie. He just put he just put a black suit on for this one and called himself a superhero. Every single character was lifeless. I thought the Justice Society was done absolutely dirty. I know this wasn't their movie, so I didn't really expect them to have been fleshed out as well as, maybe I had expected, but I did not expect Atom Smasher to have turned into this comedic relief, horny teenage character that was useless on screen. The villain, I said this in my TikTok review, and I will stand by this, is just as bad, maybe worse than Malekith from Thor: The Dark World. I thought his motives were horrific. He's had no compelling characteristics. He ended up turning into a very cliche CGI clusterfuck in the last fight, and it was tough to watch. I gave this movie a 2.5 out of 5 stars. I think that's incredibly generous. The more I talk about this movie and the more I think about it, I think it should be a 1.5 out of 5.
Just drop it. That's what I've been doing.
It took 15 years to make a piece of shit. There were scenes, Cam, you had texted me, where The Rock was flying around that just looked bad. I cannot believe I'm seeing people on TikTok call this movie like visually pleasing and telling me that the CGI was good, because it fucking wasn't.
That scene where he's flying down with his head.
Oh, dude, that's such a meme.
Yeah, with like that hit.
So
Oh my god, it's just
because he looks like a thumb.
I was laughing so much.
There were just so many things in this movie that just had me shaking my head. I thought none of the comedy worked. I know the woman's brother was supposed to be like the comedic relief character.
Oh,
Didn't fucking make me laugh at all. So yeah, just bland, boring. Also expected. I did not go into a Black Adam movie with high expectations. Anything The Rock makes, I mean, what's the best fucking movie he's been in? Fast 5, which is not even that great of a movie. So
The other guys.
Fighting with My Family. I have not.
I have not seen.
I've heard it's very good.
I have not seen
heard
Fighting with My Family.
I've heard it's very good. But
George,
yeah.
I think you should drop your rating on this one.
I think I'm going to. The
It
more I
just
talk
rips.
about this movie, the more disappointing it is for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my.
Can I
quick-
go next? Because
Yep.
I just want to.
You're next, man.
So this is where you're really going to see like my superhero bias, because I'm about to rip this movie apart just as much as George, but I still have given it like a positive review, if you want to call it that. Like I gave it a 3 out of 5 or a 58 out of 100 in the real important rating system. And I think that just comes from like, it's quick. It's only 2 hours. A 2-hour movie, I don't think drags too much. It is a fun time, I would say. Like there is a lot of action, and I think you see a lot of cool things. So like I enjoyed it more than I didn't, is what I say. But I also have a lot of like issues with it, like George does, and we can get into more of them during spoilers, but I do want to say, George, you said the villain didn't have a compelling storyline. You forget he is the last descendant of a person that ruled 6,000 years ago. You don't know your fucking timeline. Shut up.
It also
6,000 years ago.
It also came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like out of nowhere, he just says, "I'm the last descendant." Like, shut the fuck up, bro.
Dude, it was like 582 BC or 5,820 BCE. You don't know who the hell was there then. Shut up. That pissed me off. I'm sorry. There's just a lot of shit in this movie, man. I texted George after, and I'm excited. I'm sorry, Tyler. We're kind of like ripping this apart, even though you and I have it at like the same score. I know you enjoyed it more than us, whatever. But I agree with George. Like, I see a lot of people, and maybe I'm not credible because I am an MCU fan, but I also think I am somewhat competent. Like, I see a lot of people complain about the CGI in the MCU and other superhero projects in general. And I don't think any of this looked as like egregiously bad as sometimes you get in the MCU, where like, Yelena is in the sky in Black Widow and it's clearly a green screen behind her or whatever. But I think this whole movie looked quite bad, like comparatively. I think this looked really bad. The slow-mo is off-putting. I hate the slow-mo. Maybe you like it.
Bro,
maybe that's
where did the slow-mo come from?
It's so much, and they do like an X-Men Apocalypse scene like with Quicksilver, but it's so much worse. I also, one point I want to say is like this originally was supposed to be R, allegedly. You can totally see that. Like I could totally tell that this was supposed to be R at one point. Like there are some brutal kills. They just don't have like gore or whatever. And I think that's really what instead of like zapping a person and then bleeding to death, it just like goes to dust. And I think that's how you like distinguish between R and PG-13, But my issue also is like it tries to be really serious and really dark, and yet there's so much comedic relief. You got this fucking kid telling The Rock to use a catchphrase. Oh my God. It really bummed me out. It's something I really wanted to like a whole lot. I have a lot more points, but I don't want to, I talk all the time. So I'll let Seth go, and then I'll make some points later.
Yeah. On the contrary to George, I actually was quite happy with this because I thought I would give this like a half a star. Like I thought, and I'll be honest, the first hour I probably would have given it like a 1.5 star. Like this is not me being like a hater, because I feel like a lot of people say that you're a hater. No, it's just my opinion. I'm not hating on the film, but that is some of the worst dialogue and one of the worst scripts I've seen in a long time. Like that's not overstating the mark. That is like the joke delivery, how predictable it was, the comical characters didn't work at all. The villain was terrible, but I quite liked the final sequence.
I did too. No, I liked it actually.
Like I don't know why. Like I was sat. So the first hour, there was a scene where it must have been the first half an hour where Black Adam like goes towards next to the pyramids, whatever. He flies towards them. The first slow-mo shot. Do you remember? And it's like I can't remember what song plays in the background, but anyway, I just found it like hilarious. Like the first hour, me and Anna were literally laughing. And bear in mind, Anna's like a massive MCU fan. She doesn't laugh at MCU films. She was laughing at this. Like there is some hysterical moments in here that aren't meant to be hysterical, and the comical jokes they try to put out, they're not funny. However, for the final like hour, I don't know why I weirdly enjoyed it. Like I think it was just the dumb fun, the action. Even though I don't think it looked great, I found the villain like interestingly shit, if that makes sense. Like he wasn't a good villain, but he just looked funny, and his sort of fight scenes were just funny. And I think as well, like I enjoyed those bits more because they didn't have a lot of talking in. Like they were the scenes with like the minimal dialogue, so I enjoyed it a lot more. But I gave this a 2.5 out of 5. I thought I would give this a lot lower. I actually enjoyed it. I think the soundtrack was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it was dumb fun. I don't think it was a well-made film at all. I think it had a really bad script, but I think I actually understand why people like Tyler enjoyed it a lot more than me, because it was just kind of stupid fun. Like that's it. However, maybe I was a little bit generous with the 2.5, but it was just I don't know. It was okay. It was fine.
All right. Well, for my thoughts, I feel like if people haven't seen my review already, they're expecting me to say, like, I feel like you guys have been hyping this up as if I like I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, but I feel like you guys are like, sorry, Tyler, like I know you like got on your knees and sucked this movie off, but
no, but your review is like more positive than ours.
Yeah. So for me, kind of agree with what you all said. The CGI was shoddy in some parts, but the visuals I actually quite enjoyed. Like that Dr. Fate scene at the end, I was quite enjoying how that was shot and that was filmed. A lot of the landscape scenes I personally really enjoyed, but CGI, when the villain came, that was kind of the nail in the coffin where I was like, they didn't nail these visuals whatsoever. I freaking love how they made The Rock, like when they took away like his powers, wherever they're like, look how skinny and pathetic this loser is, when it's like a physique that
like
all of us would kill for.
Yeah.
We would all kill for that. Well, not just us, like any gym bro would like kill for the skinny, pathetic loser, you suck, like The Rock physique. I wonder if that was like him being like, hey, yo, we're not going to make me look completely shitty in this movie.
Yeah, he's like, you can bring me down a little, but not too much, all right?
That being said, though, like he got, obviously, like he's always been massive, but he got more massive than ever for this movie. He got too big. Like his back neck muscles, like he looked so thummy. He looked so thummy. Like he legitimately like got too big. Like it took me out of the movie.
Do you know what's weird? Anna said the exact same thing after watching. Like as soon as we walked out, she was like,
"Cheers, Anna."
His traps look so weird.
It's because his suit didn't come all the way up. All the way up. Like the traps were just like out of it.
Yeah. It looked like a thumb. It looked.
Oh my god! And then there was one scene where he was walking and the camera was behind him, so the whole camera was just on his traps.
Yeah. But
that was a Rock decision. That was
100%.
Yeah.
The dialogue, I thought the dialogue was consistently bad, but it didn't dip. Like I feel like the super cringy moments, like it didn't really. There was none of like the cringiest MCU or DCEU like lines ever in this movie for me. I just thought it was consistently very bad dialogue throughout. But still, like for
I've
me,
seen
like
worse,
like this, like for me, like just compared to another movie this year, like the screaming goats and like the JBL scene where they're like dancing, those were like worse moments to me than anything this movie had in terms of like that's cringe humor that I just hate. But it was just consistently very bad. The worst for me though was the kid, which kind of you got to be like.
I think everyone agrees with
right,
that,
but it's like, and I think a lot of people agree at least that you just can't hold like kids that like if they're gonna have bad like in Boyhood, in the beginning of Boyhood. When they're kids, the dialogue's not great, and for me, it's like, come on, they're kids. Like you can't really blame them too much. But someone's dialogue who I hated, other than The Rock's, who was just completely mid, is Viola Davis. I love you, but every DCEU movie you're in, you're not meant to play that character. You're horrible.
She's on a laptop, dude. It's so
funny.
The
same thing every time
she gets appears. Her bag every time for just being on a laptop or something. I don't think she's bad as that character, actually. I think she's never there, and she's like on a fucking laptop.
I mean, she's a standout in the Suicide Squad. I thought she's playing that role incredibly well.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, just wasn't for me, but
that's fine.
Yeah, Tyler, just quickly to your point on like that kid being shitty. Every time for some reason this year, I think The Black Phone gave us 2 of the best child performances we've ever seen, especially that girl. But like it was the whole, it wasn't even just the 2, it wasn't even the brother or the sister. It was every single young child that was in this movie was just fucking incredible. So now every time I watch a young child actor, that's just the first, like you can get a child actor capable of actually acting. So like why didn't you?
I don't know if like it's very hard to judge a performance when the script is that bad anyway.
That's fair.
Like if you look at the line delivery, he would have been told to say things a certain way. The jokes and stuff like that, that's not his fault, so it's quite hard to actually it's quite hard to differentiate a horrendous
what the fuck was the triangle?
Can we get into spoilers, because I want to start talking
I have like a quick just like couple seconds of stuff to finish off before we end the non-spoiler section, but
I have a couple points as well.
But I just want to say the musical score, like I'm even higher on it than people have been praising it. Like the soundtrack as well as like the instrumental musical score, I thought was incredible from beginning to end. Every single thing goes up, whether it was a song, like you said, or the score. I was just like, this fucking bangs. Like, I love that. Good. That was a good score.
Did a really good job with it, especially that's the first scene where Black Adam actually appears. That was the only thing I was really paying attention to, and I was like, this is a pretty banging score.
Yeah, that was like the first thing my girlfriend and I said walking out of the theater. We're like, that was banging the whole movie. But Yeah, my theater was, I think Seth said this too, my theater was laughing so much during this movie. Not like, so Seth, you said like you and Anna were laughing at like the non-funny parts just because it was like hysterically bad. But there was so many people like laughing at the joke. Like my theater was erupting. I was like, what's going on here?
What? Oh god. Yeah, it happened all the time for me, man. There was like this woman behind me. She was like crying at every scene. Like, you know, even at the scenes where the kid's telling like The Rock what to say and stuff. She was literally in like floods of like laughing tears. I was like, funny.
I didn't understand it. And then my last comment, which is a general comment about movies, like it happens all the time where something's in a trailer but then not in the movie. But I feel like every single trailer for this we watched was The Rock flying next to the 2 fighter jets and he punches the one down, they eject. Never happened in this movie.
No, it didn't.
But it's not a new thing. It bothered me.
Well? Why? I think they took that out because when that trailer dropped, I can't even tell you. I don't know if you guys saw this.
So many people made fun of it.
No, not even made fun of it. So many people compared to the scene from Iron Man 1 where Iron Man was fighting alongside the 2 jets. Everyone literally just kept posting, why is DC doing this? Like, this is clearly a ripoff of Marvel. It was shot for shot the exact same thing.
Could be.
So I doubt that's the reason it wasn't in the movie, but
it could also be the R-rated thing, potentially.
Like maybe
from
who knows? I have a couple like talking points that I wanted to bring up that like I wanted to get into before spoilers. This is like one of the more polarizing movies of the year because like we were talking about it before. I posted a video of Dr. Fate, but it was like the teen get some bitches meme, whatever, which he does do in this movie. But like a lot of people are in those comments like, this is a fun movie. If you expected anything more, you're an idiot. Why do you need like a good storyline when you're having fun and it's a cool and then other people are like, this thing's shit and like it, and I think we're kind of all in the like very middle, you know, which is fine.
I understand both sides of it. I think
it's very funny that like people like are like, why do you need, it's a comic book movie. Did you expect a good plot? Yes, honestly. Like there are plenty of comic book movies and we've talked about this, Seth. I said it the other day. I now have 11 4.5 out of 5s after doing my 2022 rankings. So I have
11.
It was 12. I now have 11. I brought one.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking in total.
So I have a lot of, earlier this week in our group chat, we were talking to MCU rankings. I have 11 movies that are 4.5 out of 5, and then like 2 that are 5 out of 5 in the MCU. There are comic book, maybe that's too much. It doesn't matter. There are comic book movies that have like very good plots and like compelling stories. And DC has that too. The Suicide Squad, Man of Steel, I think, Wonder Woman. If we're going outside of the DCEU, the Batman, the Dark Knight movies, like there are movies with fucking good, compelling plots. So yes, it's annoying when people are getting mad at you that this movie made a shit plot, but yeah, it was a good time to watch. Don't get me wrong. And that's why I have it at a positive rating. But like, you still need more. You still made a movie. You expect people to go into this movie and be captured by the moment. Like, so that's kind of just annoying to me. It's very funny. There are a lot of people like hanging their hat on like, this movie's still so much better than everything the MCU's given us. I wouldn't be comparing this. I wouldn't be using this movie. Go use the Batman. Yeah. The Batman is a lot better than the MCU movies. Don't use this one. This is not where you want to hold your ground because this one's tough. And then this is the last point, and I'm interested to hear your guys' like thoughts on it. I think the DC universe in general is like almost too powerful to make like a compelling story. And maybe that's my bias in the fact that I think a lot of the MCU movies have like dumbed down their characters. Like the Hulk could just fuck up an entire city, you know, Scarlet Witch could just control everyone and kill everyone. Yeah. And I think what the DC has done is not like depowered their characters to the point that it's like they're blowing up cities. Like, is this anything? And they kind of get into it in Batman versus Superman, but then in Batman versus Superman, they make it a huge point to be like, we're out of the city. No one's near. And it's just bad dialogue, whatever. It doesn't matter. But like in this, they're like fighting in the middle of Kahndaq. And it's like, these are massive people and massive characters. Dr. Fate is an incredible magic user. Black Adam is like one of the most powerful people, just blowing up buildings and everything. And so that's just a little like issue I have with the DC universe in general. And I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts on it. Just They have very powerful characters, like Superman's their most powerful, obviously. How do you make a compelling story about him, you know?
You do what Zack Snyder did.
And I think Man of Steel did. I agree. But it's just like, I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one that thought of that.
Well, just a quick comment on that. I say like so many DC movies just completely destroy their world. Nothing any superhero movie's ever done would have destroyed a world more than The Blip. Like that's the most like, world destroying thing of all time. Like, and I'm not saying that as like fuck the MCU. I'm just saying like when we're thinking about stuff that like legitimately would destroy a world, like The Blip would like the world's over at that point.
No, I agree. I'm just saying like when you're watching these ultra powerful characters fighting, like Hawkman's taking on Black Adam, and, like he's getting shit on, but like he's not like dying right in the split second. Like I feel like they're just all so fucking powerful that it's kind of hard to I don't know, I keep saying it, but make a compelling story. And I'm not sure if I'm saying it great, but that's just my opinion on it. And I still love the DC universe, and I hope they figure it out, but just my thoughts.
Anyone who hasn't seen it, go to the timestamps and jump ahead because we're going to get into spoilers now. So if you haven't seen this movie and you avoided every social media and you haven't seen spoilers, go to the timestamp, jump ahead, whatever it says. You've been warned. George, I'll kick it to you. Let's talk some spoilers.
There's just one like big. It's not even big. I don't even care. It's the whole final sequence with the kid and the mom rallying up the civilians of Kandar to fight these. It was just one of the most corny put together sequences I've ever seen. This one kid just stands on a fucking brick and just goes like this, and all of a sudden they're taking on these demon zombies.
Zombie things.
It just didn't. It felt stupid. It was stupid. It felt stupid because it was stupid. And then, do we want to get into the post-credit scene yet, or what?
I mean, I just
basically said it anyway.
Yeah, you said it.
Yeah, I mean, we knew it was spoiled. But if I'm Henry Cavill, and I said this in one of my TikTok videos, if I'm Henry Cavill, I'm telling Warner Brothers to fuck off. They've spent the better part of the last like 6-7 years actively preventing this man from playing a character he loves and a character we all love seeing him play. They need him significantly more than he needs them. If I'm him, I'm telling them to go fuck themselves, and I'm never putting on that Superman suit ever again. I don't care how much people want it. The only reason he got the post-credit scene in Black Adam was so that they could spoil the fact that he was in Black Adam because they made a shitty movie. So that just really bugged me. And then it's so annoying seeing all of these like people like record their reactions to this in the theater. Like you knew it was there. You fucking knew it was in the movie.
Say the name.
Stop reacting to it. You fucking knew it was there.
I love Soups. We're talking about Soups. It doesn't matter. He's a good person.
He's a great guy. But
he's a great guy. He reacts to things. There's a very funny tweet that's like, I would whip popcorn at this guy if he were in my theater, which is just.
Did you hear the woman shouting at him like when he was doing it?
No.
The second woman goes like, seriously? Like,
yeah, that's funny.
Listen, I'm cool with reacting to shit. I reacted like crazy when Cap picked up Thor's hammer. I reacted like I clapped when what's his name, John Krasinski showed up in Multiverse of Madness. I clap, whatever. I'm
with the theater. I'm never more than the theater.
I'm with the theater.
It's a public theater. This is the thing, isn't it? It's public.
But you knew it was in the movie. You knew it was there. You knew exactly when it was going to show up. You knew exactly how it was going to happen. I saw a million leaked videos before I saw this movie. Why are we reacting like this? It just feels so inauthentic.
I mean, it's just who he is, which is.
I will say
he tweeted about it. He loves Superman, which is fine. Again, it's totally cool. But again, he also knew it happened.
Yeah,
I will say that the other video he posted was quite funny.
Was very
that was fun. That one was fun.
Yeah.
That one was
just for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, so Soups, and he's just like the massive comic book movie.
Everyone knows who we're talking about.
Right? No, but I'm talking about the videos at least. He posted a video because like The Rock tweeted, said like enjoy the movie. So it's like him walking into the theater with his friends, like linked arms, walking into Black Adam. Then after the movie, it was him just like passed out, all his friends carrying him out. I genuinely laughed. I was like, that's funny.
That was funny.
Oh, that was funny.
I agree. There are a lot of things about this thing, man. The post credit scene itself like did not make sense in the movie at all. Like at all. they're buddies at the end of this thing. And so it's just like it's a half-assed, hey, we got Henry Cavill back, we need Superman. That's fine if you got him back, great. But make it fit with the movie at least a little. Like Hawkman at the end is like, all right, we're cool. Spoiler alert, but we're in spoilers, so it doesn't matter. Dr. Fate sacrifices himself. Hawkman hated Black Adam. They kind of found common ground in Dr. Fate sacrificing himself, right? And so they're pals at the end. And then Amanda Waller comes in and is like, oh, you got out of my prison. No, Dr. Fate, who you fucking hired, broke him out of the prison. And then she imprisons him to Kahndaq, and then Superman comes in. And I put this in the news, but like they originally had a headless Superman like they did in Shazam. If you guys remember that would have, I think people would truly be done with the DCEU if they gave another headless Superman. Like they did.
Oh, did that happen already? I didn't even know.
Shazam, yeah.
Oh yeah, in Shazam they have Superman walk up in the school because the whole time the character's like, oh, I'm friends with Superman, whatever. They have the Superman walk up, but you don't see his head, like, so he's just like walking with a tray, doesn't matter. And then you didn't watch Peacemaker, Seth, but the Justice League shows up in Peacemaker, and they have Jason Momoa and Ezra Miller in it, but then they have a silhouette of both Wonder Woman and Superman. So you don't
if
actually
they did it again, that would have been
if you did it again, I think it would have been the nail on the coffin of people being like, fuck this, figure it out, but yeah, it's just it's a lot of dumb things in this movie, and I don't know, I have a lot of points. I can kick it to someone else, but if anyone has anything to say.
I've got nothing left anyway. You may as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
This movie didn't include anything massive for us to like spoil,
Yeah,
there's nothing
fair.
like.
I mean, the big thing is Superman, and it was spoiled before.
Yeah,
but
he was spoiled before.
Dr. Fate, the death, and I think this is, and I really, really hate how much we compare things to the MCU, and everything gets brought back to the MCU, because like they are two separate things, and I think you can like them both. And I think if you're a fan of just one, and that's the reason you're not a fan of the other, you're a fucking idiot and you're a child. That's
a TikTok video right there.
That's fine. But that being said, I think I'm a little spoiled in the MCU and the fact that we've gotten multiple movies with characters, because now when Dr. Fate sacrificed himself, it's like I didn't care about this character enough, especially in a 2-hour movie, which I do think is a benefit, but you don't spend enough time with the Dr. Fate Pierce Brosnan character. Obviously, he can become a different character. Anyone can wear the helmet, and also like Dr. Fate is so much more interesting of a character than like Doctor Strange, because the comparison's gonna happen. And I really, really liked him in this movie. It's just one of those things where I would have liked a Justice Society movie before, rather than the classic Suicide Squad type entrance that they had, where they're like, oh, we got Cyclone. She uses wind, but she's also the smartest person in the world.
What a fucking worthless power.
Noah Centineo, who's horny again, but he also grows big. And Dr. Fate, who has the helmet. Like, shut up. The introductions for these characters, man, in these movies are so annoying, and they're so just half-assed. And even if you... Never mind. I'm not even going to compare it to the MCU again.
There was a guy, I forgot to mention this. The guy who had the worst dialogue in the whole film was the like soldier guy at the start, the English guy. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
the one who was like the inner gang guy.
Yeah, what was he saying? He was like the most like, do you want to die? Like that shit like that all the time, over and over. He was so bad. Like that, George. You know what I said about separating dialogue and acting? That's both.
Yeah,
that's just bad of each.
This movie just sucked. This movie sucked.
Yeah.
This movie sucked.
I won't Why are you giving it a 2.5 then? We need to lower the rank.
I'm lowering that shit.
Going back
I'll make a new graphic after lowering it, because I might go down to
revised.
People were annoyed as it is.
I know.
People succumb to hype so fucking easily. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Going back to the script and the dialogue, I feel like this script, the entire script, felt like what you write during like a storyboard session during the first draft. Feels like they made the first draft of the script. They're like, right here it'll be like a one-liner, but we're just gonna write a quick cheesy one for filler right now. We're gonna come back and like polish it off before we actually make it. But they just took that like
a 10-year-old
initial they just took that initial stupid script and just ran with it. But one thing we haven't talked about enough, that no one's talking about enough, which again, like Seth said, is both the script and the acting. But Noah Centineo sucked in this. Like, his character sucked. No one's giving it, like, because everyone's horny for him. No one's talking about it, that he just sucked in this movie.
His comedic
chronically
timing was
unfunny. Like, the
horrendous.
script was terrible, but he delivered them terribly. Like, and they decided to give him all the product placements. They're like, hey, you want a KFC ad? Hey, you want a Lay's potato chip ad? Like, it's such an old, tired trope in movies of like, let's make the super jacked guy eat all unhealthy to be relatable to the public. Like, oh, haha, this funny, jacked, good-looking guy eats fried chicken. Like, how quirky.
Cam, there was a reason I didn't know who this guy was.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, what is?
Yeah,
no, he's very much a young adult actor, and he's a good-looking guy. Don't get me wrong. Also, my cat.
Yeah, he's
he sucks at acting.
Yeah. I don't even, I think he's good at being a young adult actor, you know, but he's trying to get into these bigger roles now, and so we'll actually see. This movie isn't something I even think like you needed to do a good job acting in, you know, like you just do better than that. Yeah, he's just lazy, man, and he clearly didn't really care about the character as much, and that's another thing. You can tell when these actors like care about this character. Like, give The Rock, yeah, he does a lot of things like the same, but he clearly at least cares about this character, and he wanted to give it his all. And I don't think he's a bad actor. I just think he does the same thing in every movie, kind of like Ryan Reynolds. But yeah, that's it. Yeah. And another thing, it doesn't fucking make sense, man, that the reason he was imprisoned in this movie, if you haven't watched and you're just listening to the spoilers for fun, he's like, at the end, after he's like, I'll say Shazam, and then he becomes the small version of himself, whatever. And he's like, but you better not let me say it again. Why? Like, you're gonna say it this time. Just come back as Black Adam to fight a villain, and then go back to being this other character. I don't know if he was ever given a name, honestly. Maybe he was, but like, what do you mean don't let me say it again? Like, these powers aren't like taking you over. It's not like a Venom situation where like you can't control yourself. It's just, that's another thing. And then I'm so sorry. Again, I had a lot of things. It's a comic book movie. I have to. This trailer leans so hard on him being a slave. And there is none of that really in this movie. It leans so heavily on him being a slave. And then for most of the movie, you think it's his son. But in the trailer, it spoils it that like in the trailer, it says my son sacrificed himself to make me. So that's not a big reveal in this fucking movie. And I made a note. I was like, what happened to that entire storyline? And then they used it as like, hey, I'm not actually the son. I'm not the real champion. My son sacrificed himself, and now I'm an angrier Black Adam. It just, I don't know. His son didn't have to sacrifice himself. You're fucking Black Adam. Just save your dad.
Are we done with Black Adam talk?
I'm done.
All right. Well,
I like the movie.
But before we move on, let's just quickly. So I gave it a 6.1 out of 10 for 3 stars. Cam,
58 out of 100. 3 stars.
Seth,
it's gonna drop. It's gonna drop.
And George, your revised rating.
I'm gonna keep it at a generous 2.5 out of 5 stars for now. Maybe upon a rewatch, if I ever rewatch it.
Why would you rewatch?
Yeah, but why would I? Yeah.